Hello everyone, this is part 16 of What If Naruto and Hinata trained together and a spark happened, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Sakura was sitting in a chair outside the actress's room, when the alarm went off at 5 a.m. She listened to the princess groan and then slapped the clock. Then she heard something else, a none too quiet crash from the other side of the house. Even as she stood, she drew a kunai in her right hand, and her weapon scroll in her left. The medical expert paused, torn between her desire to investigate, and her worry this was a distraction to pull her away from the actress. But then she heard Naruto shout in frustration, and she quickly darted down the hall. Instead of finding her teammate locked in battle, she discovered Naruto in the kitchen, staring at a paring knife in annoyance. Is this thing just for show? He grumbled, before tossing the red-stained blade into the sink. Uzumaki was not wearing his jacket, but he did have on his pants and tank top. He withdrew a kunai from his belt pouch, and resumed cutting the raspberry spread over the counter. Naruto, what are you doing? She asked angrily. I'm trying to make breakfast, he shot back with slightly less vehemence, but Yuki isn't making it easy. The pans were just shoved in the cabinet, and none of the knives are sharp. Hinata will be done in the shower soon, Kakashi said from behind his student, so you should get ready for your turn, Sakura. What's wrong with you two? She complained, we're on a mission, not vacationing at a friend's house. Actually, we're kinda doing both, Naruto observed, his mood clearing slightly. Sakura, I might agree with you if we were in the field, getting ready for battle, the Jonin tried to supplicate her, but we're in the second largest city in the nation. We will spend the day dealing with actors and executives. So there's no reason we can't take advantage of civilization, is there? I guess not, she agreed, lowering her knife, and stowing the scroll. Just then Hinata walked in, fully clothed, but her hair still wet and not yet braided. I'll go stand guard, Kakashi told the pink-haired woman. She nodded, and both of them left. Hinata sat in the chair, and watched her beloved cut the berries in eighths. He dumped the fruit into the dough, and mixed it in. What are you making? She asked softly. Her face was tight with uncertainty. Raspberry pancakes and sausages, he said carefully, confused by her demeanor. I thought you didn't like to cook. Despite the phrasing, the tone made her statement a question. I hate it, he agreed. It's taken me almost a half hour to get this far, and it'll take another 20 minutes to get everything done. Then afterwards, it will take at least as long to clean up this mess. And on top of that, I couldn't take my shower yet, because I knew I would just get messed up again. And all that, for something that will only take like 15 minutes to eat. Then why do it? She asked. Why? He shrugged as if he had not considered it, so everyone could have good breakfast. Do you? Hinata started to ask another question, but she trailed off in fear and uncertainty. Then she took a grip on her worry, and forced the question out. Naruto, do you have a crush on Princess Kiyuki? Ha, ow. He cut his finger, his attention shifted by his surprise. The wound quickly stopped bleeding, and he washed the knife. No way, Uzumaki responded flippantly, as he dabbed the blade with a towel. Really? It's okay if you do, she told him, trying to sound earnest. He saw her expression, and he turned serious. I mean, she is pretty, and she is talented, and... I don't have a crush on Yuki, he interrupted her gently. Yeah, I used to have a crush on Princess Gale, the character. But that was before I met her. Yuki used to be an ice princess in every sense of the word. She never laughed or smiled, and she said she couldn't cry. And she was really self-centered. At first, I didn't like her at all, and that sort of snapped me back to reality. By the end of the mission, I understood her better, and she started to open up more. But by then, I was already past my crush. Yuki and I are just friends, Hinata. I promise you. She nodded, relieved. Maybe, I could clean up for you, Naruto, she offered. Nah, you don't have to do that, Hinata, he shook his head. I want to, she countered in her normal quiet tone. Besides, while I do the dishes, you can take your shower. She blushed at the end of the statement. Are you thinking dirty thoughts, Hinata? He teased her happily. The girl turned an even deeper shade of crimson, but could not deny the accusation. By the time they had finished eating and washing up, it was already well past 6. Fortunately, the actress's home was fairly close to the studio, and they were able to arrive only a few minutes late for her 6:40 hairstyling. But when they entered the studio, it was eerily dark and quiet. Only half of the lights were on, and they didn't see anyone else. Yuki stepped closer to Kakashi, the widening of her eyes not entirely due to the gloom. Where is everybody? Sakura whispered, shouldn't there be people here getting ready? Maybe everyone is getting ready, Naruto suggested, you know, all in their own dressing rooms. What about the lighting and sound people? Hinata asked, or the cameraman? Stay close, Kakashi instructed. The ninjas closed in around their client, escorting her to her dressing room. Before they could arrive at the actress's sanctuary, a series of light footsteps caused them to freeze in place. Byakugan, Hinata whispered, her vision extending in all directions at once, and through the set facings. Kakashi-sensei, she exhaled urgently. I know, he confirmed, we're surrounded. A figure became visible in the dim, then another. Within a second, even Kyuki could make out more than a dozen humanoid shapes walking deliberately towards them. Their attackers had green, rotting skin and torn rags for clothing. Their faces were drawn, and a few were missing eyes. Each also carried a bone or tree branch like a club. Gale, one rasped, and the other echoed, kill Princess Gale. Not zombies, Naruto shuddered, reaching for Kitsune. No, they're not zombies, Hinata denied, they are people in zombie costumes. Kill Gale. These must be the stunt fighters, Yuki said excitedly, they must be in costume for the big battle scene. We're attacking the Tile's stronghold today. But why are they acting like this? Surgeon Byakugan, Hinata expended more chakra to increase her Kekkei Genkai to the 2nd level. They are each under a powerful genjutsu, the white-eyed beauty told her teammates, there are talisman scrolls under their masks, anchoring the effect. Can you absorb it? Their Jonin leader asked. I don't know, she shuddered at the thought, there are so many of them, and I've never used the absorption against a genjutsu inside a talisman before. So much for that, Sakura rolled her eyes, what should we do, sensei? We can't hurt them, it's not their fault. That didn't stop you and Sasuke last time, Naruto smirked. Princess Gale. If we can get the scrolls off them, then Hinata can use the Surgeon Byakugan to free them, Kakashi said. The zombie actors suddenly charged, as they had received an unseen, unheard signal. They did not attack the ninjas, but instead tried to push past, to reach Yuki. Though Sakura's strength enabled her to keep them at bay easily, the other three struggled. They're pretty strong, Naruto groaned, shaking his hand from the impact of the club he just caught. The stuntman yanked the weapon away before the shinobi could disarm him. Their hearts are beating really fast, Hinata noted, I think the genjutsu is flooding their systems with adrenaline. If this keeps up, they could die from the strain. I'm getting Yuki to higher ground, Kakashi informed his students, even as he turned and lifted the actress, Naruto and Sakura, try getting rid of the scrolls, so Hinata can free them. Right, Naruto nodded with a grim look, even as the Jonin jumped towards the wall, and then rebounded up to the catwalk. The brainwashed fighters all turn to follow, and a few of the more adept ones start to climb the set pieces to get closer to the elevated walkway. Sakura grabbed one of the female performers, and reached for the gruesome latex over her face. As she did, the woman reacted to her for the first time, swinging her club at the kunoichi's neck. Though the zombies closest to Kakashi and Yuki continued their ascent, the rest, the majority turned back, the groans changing. Kill Leaf Ninja, the brainwashed warriors moaned. The first of the stunt actors reached the catwalk. She attempted a lunge past Kakashi, but he caught her wrist. She pulled away, and tried to sweep his legs. Hitaki avoided the attack, and cleanly tore the mask from her face. Half of the chakra-laced tag came with zombie disguise, and Kakashi touched her forehead with his other hand, intoning, release. The performer took another half of a step towards Kyuki, and then stopped. Though she was slightly shorter, and noticeably less voluptuous than the princess, there was an uncanny similarity in their faces. Kakashi suspected this was Yuki's stunt double. What happened? She asked, where am I? Noriko, the star called out, recognizing her understudy and confirming the Jonan's conjecture. Are you okay? Yuki. She seemed disoriented. What's going on? Don't you remember? No. The stunt expert shook her head. Get behind me, Kakashi barked, as two more of the enslaved stunt fighters reached their perch. Destroy Leaf, a stuntman moaned as he swung at Naruto. The Chunin ducked under the skeletal club. Despite having their strength and speed enhanced by the hormone rush, Uzumaki was still slightly stronger and quicker than the actors, and he had the edge in skill. But the fake zombies had far greater numbers, and had experience working as a team. He launched his fingers towards the stuntman's eyes, but only hooked the mask, pulling it away. His target now clear, he snatched the tag from the actor's forehead. He pushed the man back, and shifted focus to his third target, neatly dodging a blow aimed for his right shoulder. Removing the tags alone did not break the genjutsu. With Naruto's second victory, that made 9 of the fighters uncovered, 3 of them by Hinata and the other 4 by Sakura. Taking note of the number, the Byakugan user decided not to push her luck any further. Absorption, she ordered. The mind-influencing technique detached from all of the zombies, but quickly wrapped back around those still masked. The remaining 9 seals of chakra flew to Hinata, attaching to the young woman. She shuddered, her silver eyes growing wider. Slowly, almost painfully, she brought her hands together. Release, she incanted, and the relaxed in relief as the genjutsu shattered. Are you okay, Hinata? Naruto asked, sidestepping a stuntwoman and missing his grab for the hanging rubber sore on her left cheek. Yes, she breathed heavily, as she dodged another attack, but it was too much at once, and my Suijin Byakugan could only defeat the visual part. I had to destroy the rest of the jutsu normally. What's going on? One of the freed actors asked, is this a cut? What happened to Gale and Tsukuyaku? Another looked around in surprise. I was just on the castle set, one of the performers pondered. Oh, crap, it's her. Again, one of the fighters pointed at Sakura, where's the other one? He tried to back away, and the zombies parted subtly to make way for him. They closed ranks quickly enough, and kept the pressure on the shinobi. Sakura snatched the carefully crafted tree branch from her latest attacker, and tossed it behind her. She grabbed his face, and her chakra-reinforced fingernails shredded the mask, revealing the chakra tag. She plucked off the paper, before pushing him back into the throng. Naruto caught the bone-shaped weapon in his left hand, ignoring the rough edge carving into his palm. He tapped the stunt man's wrist, just hard enough to make his opponent release the club. Uzumaki turned the femur back on its owner, smacking him in the right ear, and snagging the mask with the partially sharpened joint. The blonde teen pulled away, taking the disguise with him. The same action allowed him to avoid another attack, but knocked the partially tangled club from his hand. Hey, he's the cameraman from yesterday, the male Chunin proclaimed. So it's not just the stuntman. Hinata sounded worried, disabling a shoulder with her gentle fist, and then slicing through the zombie face to pull the talisman off the human underneath. She slid cleanly under the pair of weapons aimed at her skull, sweeping the legs of one attacker, then aiming an uppercut at the other as she straightened. As she intended, she only caught the woman's chin, pushing the mask back on her head. Her hand changed course with remarkable speed, her fingers uncurling to tear off the tag on the enchanted woman's forehead. Now that there were 6 more uncovered, Hinata used her quicksilver eyes to pull on the genjutsu again. With fewer hitting her, and having experienced it once already, this time it was far easier for her. Once again, the freed studio employees asked if the filming was done, seemingly unclear on what was happening. But the Hyuga bloodline enabled her to see something else. Sakura, I think the adrenaline is starting to hurt their bodies, she said, some of them are breathing hard, and a few have irregular heartbeats. How long can they take this? That depends on a number of things, the medical expert answered thoughtfully, as she sidestepped another blow, age, fitness, and how strongly the illusion is stimulating their adrenal gland. But if you are seeing arrhythmias, we need to hurry. If you two get out of range, their new teammate suggested, I can cut through all of the tags at once with my protection of the 8 trigrams 128 palms. Naruto nodded, and Sakura frowned. Afterwards, I will absorb the genjutsu off of them, she continued, but it will probably be too much for me. Sakura, if it is, I may need you to release me. This time her rival nodded, knowing that Naruto could no more break a genjutsu than he could spell arrhythmia without a dictionary. The two-leaf shinobi leapt high, Naruto grabbing onto the steel beams supporting the roof, while Sakura landed on the other side of the horde. Some of the stunt fighters started to turn to follow her, but Hinata was already moving. She dropped her left hand back, and raised her right hand before her face, her first two fingers point up. A duality symbol sprang up around her feet, and spread out into an elaborate ninjutsu seal. Byakugan art, protection of the 8 trigrams 128 palms. Her hands began to move rapidly. First she used a blade of sharpened chakra to cut through the masks and bisect the tags underneath. Then a gentle burst of blunted energy to the knees knocked each false zombie down, clearing her path to the next opponent. After 2 quick, exhausting seconds, she ended the ninjutsu, and placed her hands together. Absorption, she intoned, and the technique flowed from each of the fallen workers into her eyes. Hinata's body shook for a moment, and then she turned to face Sakura. Her Kekkei Genkai was gone, but her beautiful face was lit by rage. Kill Leaf Ninja, she groaned savagely. Breathing harshly from the hormones, she tensed to pounce on the medic. But before she could move, Naruto landed in front of her, his arms spread wide to bar her path. "Na? Naruto," she wheezed, looking at him in confusion. Sakura took the chance, darting under Uzumaki's arm, and slapping Hinata's forehead, probably harder than was necessary. "Release," she ordered. For a moment, Hinata's eyes shifted to Sakura again, but then the younger woman went limp, and Naruto caught her. "Are you okay, Hinata?" he asked in concern. Around them, the freed actors and workers began to regain their feet. Sakura moved to check on them. As she did, she noticed something. She didn't cut them, she was amazed, not even a scratch. Of course not, Naruto was both proud and defensive. "Naruto." Hinata stirred in his arms. "Did I do it?" "Yeah." He hugged her. "You did great." "Good," she murmured, her consciousness slipping away again. "Sakura." The pink-haired Kunoichi hurried back over, and gave Hinata a quick examination. "She'll be fine," she told him, "she's just tired, and almost out of chakra." The Surgeon Byakugan is much more draining than the regular version. And Hinata just used it on over 50 people at once, Kakashi noted as he rejoined them. He set down the Yuki, and looked down at his newest student. Naruto frowned at him in askance. "I did some research," Hitaki shrugged. "Hinata isn't the first one to manifest this ability, just the first in a long time. I was able to view some old records on the techniques." "Naruto," the Jonin suddenly straightened, and switched to his leader voice, "take Hinata and Yuki to Yuki's dressing room, and stay with them. Sakura and I are going to have a look around." The newest Chunin lifted his girlfriend gently, and looked at the princess. She nodded, and they hurried to her princess's reserved space. "Kakashi-sensei, what's up?" Sakura asked. "2 things," he informed her, still looking over the still disoriented actors. "First, this is not the entire crew. I don't see the director, or any of the other stars. We need to look for them. And second, whoever created this genjutsu must have been close by, to make them switch to attacking us. He or she probably ran, but we still might be able to find some trace, and catch up. We'll split up," he instructed. "I'll head north, you head south." "Is she okay?" Yuki asked, gazing at them with concern. Naruto was clutching Hinata's right hand with both of his. He slowly poured his chakra into her, carefully focusing on the shared affinity for lightning, as the Hokage had taught him. Sakura said she'd be fine. Naruto said, "I'm just recharging her chakra a little, so she'll wake up sooner." "That was a genjutsu, right?" The princess continued to sound worried. "That's what Hinata said. But that means that someone hired ninjas to attack the set. Unless it's that younger sister person you mentioned," Naruto suggested. "Of course, she's still a ninja." He noticed her expression, and forced himself to grin. "Hey, don't look like that," he said boisterously. "We took care of this trap easy enough. Even if they are ninjas, they aren't that good." "That was your plan," the second shadow complained. "After they escaped, send a bunch of amateurs to fight 4-leaf shinobi. It should have worked." The first concealed ninja whined. "They were outnumbered, and my technique significantly increased the strength and reflexes of my soldiers. If that woman hadn't been able to do that weird trick to break my genjutsu, they would have had to release each of the stuntmen individually. So they could have worn them down. Maybe if the zombies had had knives," the second argued, "but with prop clubs. What's with you and knives? Her partner groused, and then added, either way, we need to report back to leader. The female silhouette shuddered, and finally nodded. Sakura had not found any trace of their attackers, nor of the rest of the crew. Her path through the studio had taken her to the lighting and sound department, where a dozen or so large storerooms held spotlights, boom microphones, and other such equipment. It was all beyond the 16-year-old kunoichi. Though she knew otherwise, the technology to capture sound might as well have been magic. Distracted by her musings, she almost missed the light scraping behind the door she was walking past. But her expert ears did catch the noise, and she padded silently over to the door. It was bolted, but she picked the simple lock with ease and stealth. Steeling herself, she yanked open the door. Gah! Makino shouted wordlessly, swinging a microphone stand overhead like a sword. The stand caught on the doorframe, and the director's momentum carried him forward, without his improvised weapon. Sakura caught him gently, and pushed him back to his feet. Sakura. He blinked at her in amazement. Oh, thank the gods. We thought those soon-to-be unemployed fighters had come back for some more. The healer looked past him, and saw the rest of the cast and crew had been crammed into the already cluttered room. Well, I suppose I can't fire them, it was mind control, the director grunted. After being freed by Sakura, the film crew had met up with Kakashi. The Jonin had explained the situation, and told them he had not been able to track down the enemy shinobi. Maybe we should call off today's scenes, Makino considered. No, came a shout from the crowd. Noriko pushed her way forward. Mr. Makino, you shouldn't postpone filming, she argued. I asked around, and none of us are really hurt. Whoever is doing this probably wants us to shut down, that's why we need to keep going. There were a few nods around her. Kakashi observed the crowd carefully, watching for any anger or surprise. Well, if we delay, it will probably push us over budget anyway, he grumbled, so if everyone is game, let's get set up for scene 27. We'll go get Yuki, the copy ninja told the director, and I will see if I can talk her into staying here, so the four of us can also keep an eye on the studio. I'd be much obliged, the older man nodded, already thinking of the cost of hiring additional guards. The two shadows knelt before a third concealed ninja, who was both taller and better muscled than his subordinates. It seems our opponents are beyond your skills, he said softly. If we are to finish this mission, I may need to take direct action. Yuki's dressing room was not exactly built for an extended stay, but, as the actress pointed out, it wasn't any worse than her trailer when filming on location. It was made easier by the fact that at any given time, one of the four shinobi was standing guard outside the door, and another was prowling the studio. And each morning, they raided the craft services table for breakfast. The next 4 days had passed without incident, and the glamour of the movie industry was stripped away from the young adults. Seeing the technical aspects and the repetitive nature of filming robbed them of their wonder. Without any sort of action, Naruto grew bored, with Sakura quickly following suit. By the end of the 4th day, even Hinata was getting restless. But when the 5th morning dawned, the Chunin teens were lit with a new hope. The crew was moving outside of the city for a location shoot at a cliffside ruin some 20 miles outside the city. Even if filming was more of the same, at least they were getting out of the studio. Unfortunately, Yuki told them, we will only be shooting in the wilderness for 3 days, so we will be setting up tents instead of hauling the trailers out there. That doesn't matter to us, Hinata reassured the princess. Yeah, we'll sleep on the ground if we have to, Naruto asserted. That was just you, because you forgot your sleeping bag, Sakura mocked him. The actress chuckled, and the blonde Chunin rubbed the back of his head in embarrassment. The site was a group of granite walls, the remains of an ancient castle. They were situated at the bottom of a sharp rock face. The crew set up the tents far enough from the shell of the building that they wouldn't be caught by the cameras. The first day's scenes were captured without a hitch, and after they were finished, the crew had a giant barbecue for dinner and as a small celebration. The next morning they resumed early, running through the precisely choreographed battle between Gale, Tsukuyaku, and Shishimaru, and the north and east tiles 6 times before lunch. The 4 shinobi all ate lunch with Yuki, Noriko, and Tamaki, the woman playing the south tile. After eating, the princess, her stylist, and the 2 kunoichi returned to the tent to change Yuki into the battle-damaged version of Princess Gale's costume for the next sequence. As Yuki and Kasumi worked to get the princess into the ornate and specially constructed costume, Naruto and Kakashi roamed the perimeter of temporary set. The Jonin circled around near the ruins, while the Chunin wandered near edge of the forest. Naruto paused, catching a whiff of something in the air. Kakashi-sensei, Naruto shouted, and the copy ninja joined him. Do you smell that? The young adult asked his mentor. Smoke, Kakashi asked. Yeah, but it smells kinda sweet, he confirmed, not like wood burning. Like something cooking. Kakashi asked, not smelling the difference, maybe campers, or bandits. No, it's not food. The teen shook his head, it's almost like potpourri. But why would someone burn that? Kakashi's uncovered eye widened dangerously. Naruto, go get Hinata, now. Tell Sakura to keep Kyuki in the tent, and don't let anyone in except for me or Hinata, and then, only if we demonstrate our Kekkei Genkai. Kakashi-sensei, what's going on? What you are smelling must be incense, the Jonin explained, knowing Naruto would move faster if he understood, like what is used for a powerful attack or summoning jutsu. We need Hinata too. Why he wanted Hinata was cut off, as two clumps of trees at the edge of woods exploded. As the oaks fell forward, they revealed the sources of the destruction, two huge animals. On the right was a porcupine, almost 30 feet high. Its razor quills longer than Naruto was tall. The other beast was an immense frog, its smooth skin patterned in two distinct shades of green. The amphibian was only 20 feet tall at the top of its protruding eyes, but was longer and wider than its mammalian counterpart. On the head of each summoned creature stood a slightly built ninja. They were either young or short, their masks made it impossible to tell. But their Cloud Village crests were easily visible. The female shinobi stood easily on the frog's flat skull, while her male teammate was perched much more precariously amongst the porcupine spikes. Kakashi's eye narrowed in recognition, and he stopped his student. On second thought, I will guard Yuki, he told the Chunin, switching back to the actress's pseudonym, I will send Sakura and Hinata to assist you. Stall until they arrive. Right, Naruto acknowledged, his face growing dark. Hey, the impetuous teen pointed at his female opponent, who the heck are you, and where'd you learn the toad summoning technique? Toad. The frog's voice was deep, wet, and angry, how dare you refer to me as one of those lumpy-skinned, oil-spewing, disrespectful excuses for amphibians. What was that? Naruto growled. Judging by your outrage and lack of intelligence, you must be a toad summoner. No fool, that I am Kawazuomo of the noble frog ninja clan, and I am far superior to any toad. Oh yeah? Let's just see about that. Even as Naruto slit his thumb, he turned his attention inwards to his tenant. Hey, Fox, give me some chakra, Naruto commanded. Behind the bars of her cage, the Kyuubi regarded him with a mix of annoyance and amusement. Why should I do that? She asked him harshly. You got to have your fun in the hidden sound, and you haven't been keeping up with your rent lately, he informed her. I need to summon the chief to teach this guy a lesson, and I need some of your chakra to do it. By my estimation, you should have enough chakra of your own now to summon that overinflated tadpole, she countered briskly. Maybe, Naruto capitulated, but only if I don't want to have any left for anything else. I don't see whereas that is my problem, the demon shrugged, if you don't want to run dry, try something else. I don't think so, the teen snapped back. He reached through the bars. Within the illusion of their interaction, he tore out some of the fox's hair. In reality, his soul reached through the seal and stole some of the spirit's energy. The demon's eyes expanded more from surprise than pain. Try that again, and I'll keep your hand, she warned him. Despite her murderous anger, a slight amount of admiration crept into her voice. The teen ignored her, as in the real world he intoned. Summoning jutsu. He jammed his blood-stained hand to the ground. Smoke billowed out, and Naruto rose into the air. Okay, now prepare to eat your words, Naruto started to taunt, until he realized the summoning was complete, and he was still looking up at the frog from his new perch. He looked down and realized he was on the head of an unfamiliar toad. Uzumaki's summoned ally was only 15 feet tall, 25 feet wide, and 30 feet long. The toad's medium orange skin was covered by a shirt of yellow chainmail, and the leather belt strapped to its waist had 5 short swords in scabbards along its lower back. Which is to say, they were short swords to the giant toad, each one was slightly longer than the Chunin was tall. Who the heck are you? Naruto demanded angrily. Gamazashi, the amphibian replied in a stern yet feminine voice, and you are quite obviously Naruto Uzumaki. Where's Gamabunter? He barked, even more off-put by lecturing tone. The chief is busy, so he redirected your summons to me, she told him. Wait, you guys can do that. Naruto's anger faded in confusion. Only the chief and elders can do that, she sighed, otherwise I would have forwarded your call to Kichi or Tatsu. Anyway, why am I here? To help me deal with those two, he pointed to the frog and porcupine, who were waiting for direction. Unfortunately, the two cloud shinobi were dumbstruck by Naruto's summoning of such a large animal without an inscribed seal, so they did not attack. Especially that big frog, Naruto continued, I figured Gamabunter would want to knock him around for talking smack about the Toad clan. Oh, was he? Zashi turned her attention to the other frog, a dangerous glint in her eyes. Get off, Naruto. What? I won't be able to fight as well with you up there, she explained, drawing one of her swords, so you deal with the big spiky mammal, while the two of us have a little talk, amphibian to amphibian. Naruto, Sakura hailed him as she and Hinata ran up. The boy leapt down, landing near his teammates. In the same instant, Gamazashi hopped up, shifting her first sword to her tongue, and drawing one more in each hand. At the apex of her jump, her tongue darted out, blade first, at the Kawazuomo's left eye. The frog pushed off with both left legs, skipping to the side just enough to avoid the sword. In the process, he nearly dislodged his summoner. Hang on, Tashigi, the frog ordered imperiously. The girl quickly and nervously dropped to one knee, placing her left hand on the frog's head for support. Sakura hefted one of the fallen trees, as if it were nothing more than a baseball bat, and swung it at the porcupine. The quilled critter's feet dug in, and it accepted the blow without complaint. The trunk lodged in its spines, and the animal spun away, ripping the impromptu club from the medic's hands even as its barbed tail veered towards the trio. Now what? Sakura asked worriedly as she rolled away. That thing just took one of my best shots without even flinching. The quills block and cushion attacks, while punishing anyone who gets too close, Hinata observed as she dodged another attack. I don't think any of my techniques will get through. The Odama Rasengan might be able to drill through, but I don't know if it would do much damage to something that size, Naruto agreed. It isn't how much damage, Sakura suggested, as much as where you hit. Yeah, but this guy's pretty light on his feet, Naruto grimaced as the porcupine's spikes sliced through his left bicep and pectoral, and the Odama Rasengan ain't exactly my fastest move. Care to introduce yourself? Zashi mocked, swinging her right-hand sword horizontally, and her left-hand weapon vertically. When the green amphibian jumped back to avoid the twin slashes, the toad's tongue stabbed out her third sword again. Caught in mid-air, Kawazuomo could only catch the sword with his left hand, nearly losing a finger to the blade. Or should I just call you, Froggy? I have no name to give to a toad, he smirked imperiously, particularly a dead one. Big talk for one who has been hopping around like a frightened jackrabbit. Gamazashi bounced closer, using a variation on her previous pattern. But this time he ducked low, and then his own tongue darted out. His tongue knocked hers askew, and then continued on to tag her right shoulder. Not bad, the female amphibian shook out her shoulder to recover from the impact. Try this. Hidden leaf style, crescent moon dance. Instead of creating shadow clones, Gamazashi used the extension of her limbs and tongue to achieve the pattern of separated blades. Confused by the complex weapon form, the frog took a pair of cuts down his left side, and narrowly avoided losing that eye. Tashigi, what are you doing up there? Kawazuomo chided gently. Sorry, the cloud kunoiki shook her head to regain focus. Zashi swung again, but this time the human was able to react. Raiton, sparkling coat, the girl chanted, placing both hands on the frog's head. Just before her blade struck, the lightning tracing over Kawazuomo's body sprang up, and spread down the metallic weapon. The toad nearly dropped her weapon, as her left arm went numb. I would be careful, the larger amphibian advised sarcastically, another spark like that could set off your oil reserve. Two problems with that, Gamazashi grinned wickedly, sheathing all three of her blades in one motion. First, I don't use oil. I let that ability drop so I could focus on my weapons, she enlightened her opponent. Second, I don't intend to be shocked again. Gamazashi drew her fourth weapon, and the human and frog were astonished to see it was a bokken, though the wooden sword's length and curve matched her steel blades. Hinata, you have a summoning contract. Sakura ducked under the paw that punched at her head. Catching the bottom of the beast's foot, she pushed it back before it could try to body slam her. What about summoning a giant squirrel? The powerful healer suggested as she jumped clear. The porcupine regained its feet, carefully protecting the young ninja clinging desperately to its ear. That won't work. The Hyuga heiress shook her head. The largest of the ninja squirrels is less than 9 feet long from nose to tail tip. Great, Sakura groused, rolling her eyes at her rival. Maybe it can help. Naruto touched the blood flowing from his rapidly closing wounds. Hinata summoned Sol and Lune. Okay. Hinata carefully stabbed her thumb, but why? Strength in numbers, Naruto explained, force the spiny thing to split its attention amongst more of us. Summoning jutsu. The two squirrels appeared in matched puffs of smoke. Sol, Lune, hit and run, she instructed. The agile rodents were moving before she finished speaking. The black squirrel ran in, and yanked out 2 of the porcupine's quills, while his sister circled around towards the giant creature's head. I think I can add 1 more without running too low, Naruto thought. He cupped his hand to gather the blood running towards his elbow. Blood clone jutsu, Naruto created a single enhanced copy, and the 6 warriors circled the prickly pig. By constantly moving, and keeping the distance from one another, they were able to avoid getting hit. But at the same time, they were not able to score any substantial hits. Sakura, Hinata called quietly for her teammates' attention, the next time their paths crossed. The pink-haired kunoichi changed course to listen to her navy purple-tressed counterpart. Watch, Hinata requested, and then signaled. Sol nodded, and then jumped on the splintered log, still embedded on the porcupine's spines. The impact appeared to cause the large creature discomfort, and it was not able to easily dislodge the albino rodent. The weight and pull on his quills is slowing him, the Byakugan wielder suggested. I think if you lodge enough of them on him, we might be able to reach his head. The quills aren't as long or thick up there, and of course his eyes are an obvious target. Sakura nodded grudgingly, and told her rival, you guys keep him busy, and I'll give it a shot. The medic snatched up another medium-sized oak, and slammed overhand so that the furthest extension hit the top of the porcupine. All right, Yoshi, the spinned beast finally spoke, in a deep yet squeaky voice, time to earn your keep in this little arrangement. I'd love to, the cloud youth answered unevenly, but I'm too busy trying not to get impaled up here. Why did I agree to this? The porcupine asked no one in particular, and no one responded. Instead both Naruto's unleashed kunai at his eyes, while several of his tail quills splintered as Hinata blocked them with ginmaki. Taking advantage of Hinata's defense, Sakura dropped her next tree on the summoned animal's tail. This caused the spiny pig to yelp in pain. Gamazashi leapt high again, swinging her bokken overhand. Kawazuomo flipped backwards to dodge the attack, at the same time his leg lashed out, catching her in the chin. But this time the attack did not cause any arcing. Despite looking a little pale from the acrobatics, Tashigi managed to sign again. Kaiten, ignition jutsu, she proclaimed, and a number of intense bursts of flame erupted around the toad's wooden sword. But the blade did not catch fire, and the orange amphibian smirked at the kunoichi. This blade is pressure and chakra treated, she offered, it will take a lot more than that to make it burn. And it also looks like your batteries are running low. In one smooth action, Zashi sheathed her bokken, and drew her 3 metal blades, this time wrapping all 3 handles in her tongue. Springing blades, her speech was slightly slurred. Her tongue shot out, holding each blade at a slightly different angle. The frog was able to avoid the first sword, but took a light hit from the second, and a deep cut from the third. Tashigi, now, the frog ordered. Yes, the girl nodded, launching into a complex string of hand signs. As she did, Kawazuomo's cheeks puffed outwards. Water style, frog spout jutsu, the summoned beast spit out a massive column of water, which joined with the smaller and faster stream flowing from the kunoichi's hands. The 2 attacks combined, taking on the size of the frog's release, and the power of the human's jutsu. Gamazashi put her 3 swords together, and spun them rapidly, forming a cone. The defense shredded the column, spraying water all over the field, but the force of the technique still pushed the toad back. And now I'm covered in frog spit, Lune remarked in blasé annoyance. The black squirrel darted up 3 of the logs embedded on the porcupine, nearly reaching the cloud ninja on the giant's head. On his last bound, the spiked animal shifted again, and the smaller rodent missed his human target. Lune corrected in mid-air, and landed lightly on his feet, quickly dodging a massive paw. Sakura froze, looking repulsed at her wetness. The kunoichi wiped off her face. Despite the sudden increase in her ire, she could not help but admit, Hinata's plan was working. The weight of the wood was slowing the porcupine, while giving her allies more footholds to reach the huge animal's head. Though none had reached it yet, they were getting closer, and their opponent was now spending much more time trying to dislodge them, than attacking his smaller opponents. Forcing her way past her disgust, the pink-haired kunoichi grabbed one of the few remaining trees. She waited for Sol to draw the giant around, and slammed the improvised club so close to the animal's face that a few of the outlying branches scraped Yoshi's side. Hinata, Naruto called, and his girlfriend joined him in hopping up the logs. Ready, she told him, and he dropped back his right hand. Chakra began to swirl above his palm, and Hinata's hands began to dart around the expanding sphere. Fueled by both of their chakra, the Rasengan expanded to almost a meter in diameter, and turned a vivid, crackling purple. As they leapt off the last log, Hinata's hands stopped moving, but her left hand hovered next to Naruto's right, as they both supported the attack. Odama Raten Rasengan, the couple exclaimed in unison, as they dove at the porcupine's face. Their hands pushed forward so the sphere was leading, and the giant animal was so bogged down it could not dodge. I've had enough of this, the porcupine grunted, getting smacked with sticks, and harnessed with a useless partner. Yoshi, I'm going to recommend to the elders that they not accept your contract. With that, the spiny pig vanished. The cloud ninja, and the various logs rained on the terrain. Behind them followed Naruto and Hinata. Pulled by the large spiraling lightning ball, they could not alter the descent. The Odama Raten Rasengan struck the grass and dirt, and exploded. The force of the blast did not seem to touch Naruto and Hinata, but everyone else, even the 2 oversized amphibians, were blown away like dried grass. Sakura, Naruto's blood clone, and the 2 squirrels landed on their feet near the forest, while Yoshi was bounced into the air. Gamazashi released the sword in her tongue to avoid cutting herself, and Kawazuomo had to contort in midair so he did not land on Tashigi. The act caused the giant frog to crash down on his left hip, snapping it. Sakura and the squirrels looked back, but they did not see Naruto or Hinata. As Yoshi plummeted back to the ground, they were surprised when he did not hit the earth, but continued to fall. They hurried forward, and the blood clone cancelled himself. They paused at the lip of the 30-foot radius semicircle crater. Standing at the bottom were the partners. Hinata looked mildly chagrined by the damage, and Naruto held the unconscious cloud youth. Mistress, that was amazing, Sol gushed. Yeah. Don't do it again, Lune added. Sakura nodded her agreement. Gamazashi retrieved her dropped weapon, and turned back towards the frog. Tashigi, get clear, Kawazuomo ordered, I will hold the toad as long as I can. Dismiss, she said gently, placing her hand on the frog's forehead again. Kawazuomo only had an instant to look shocked before he vanished. The cloud kunoichi turned back to Gamazashi, drawing a kukri in her right hand, and a straight dagger in her left. Surrender, child, Zashi advised gently, glancing back. The leaf humans approached slowly, Hinata having sent Sol and Lune back. Naruto carried the tightly trussed Yoshi, still unconscious, over his left shoulder. The girl nodded, dropping her weapons. My job is done, anyway, she admitted enigmatically. Kakashi was going to have Sakura guard Yuki, Naruto remembered, until he saw the summoned animals. You don't think this was all a diversion, do you? Hinata asked nervously. We better get back, Sakura insisted. Kakashi stood outside Yuki's tent, looking surprisingly relaxed. You can come out, Washichi, the Sharingan user said, as soon as I saw the porcupine, I knew it was you. Kakashi Hatake. So we meet again, the cloud ninja appeared before him. Well, this is a conundrum. On the one hand, I need to whip my apprentices. When they described who they were fighting, they told me it was an old man with white hair, a stupid-looking blonde, a pink-haired ditz, and a busty girl with blue hair and silver eyes. I mean, how am I supposed to figure out that describes you and your team? Though the blue-haired, silver-eyed girl still confuses me. Kakashi remained silent, seeing no reason to divulge Hinata's identity. But I already berated them for losing twice, Washichi continued, and they obviously had no chance against you. He sighed, and turning up his hand in defeat, not that I particularly want to fight the copy ninja. But I should at least pay lip service to the contract, and spar you a little. Even if she, surely enough, the client was wrong about the actress not having any bodyguards. Kakashi raised an eyebrow at the weak attempt to cover the slip, and asked, so you were targeting Yuki Fujika's? You had orders to kill her, I presume. No, we were just supposed to make her leave the land of fire. Preferably alive, but if the only way was shipping her back to the land of snow in a pine box, then so be it. The land of lightning. Jonin shrugged. Not that any of that matters. Unless I can pull off a miracle here and beat you, the contract will be cancelled. Sending a Jonin and 2 recently appointed genin against an S-rank Jonin and 3 chunin is far beyond a Category C mission. That is assuming your 4th is also a chunin. Kakashi nodded, seeing no harm in revealing that. But then he added, I can't argue with that. But that doesn't mean I can go easy on you. Of course not. Washichi was offended by the suggestion. I still have my pride. So then. The Cloud Warrior moved his hand through a quick set of seals before announcing, Earth style, dust 'em up jutsu. Sand and dirt floated up from the ground and wrapped around his hands. In less than a second, Washichi's hands had tripled in size, and had spikes on each knuckle and across the back. He swung his enlarged fist at Kakashi, but the leaf Jonin slid out of the way. Hatake tried to punch back, but a rocky fist interposed, and Kakashi stopped short of impaling his hand on the spikes. For 30 seconds they exchanged punches and kicks, with neither warrior landing a serious blow. Then, suddenly, Washichi backed off with a frown. I thought you weren't going easy on me. I'm not, Kakashi confirmed, I'm just not taking this seriously. 2 complete different propositions. Okay, the Cloud Shinobi failed to see the distinction, then try this. He started to sign, but after the first 3, Kakashi began the same sequence, catching up and then keeping pace with his opponent. Earth style, rock and roll jutsu, the 2 Jonin proclaim in unison. The ground bucked under their feet, but the opposing waves met and cancelled each other out. You did that without your Sharingan, Washichi's tone was accusatory. I already know that technique. There was no need to copy it. As he finished saying that, the breeze carried a fine mist over them, from the direction of the distraction. Then what about wind style? Pocket tornado jutsu, Kakashi finished. Again, their techniques neutralized one another. Fine, what number am I thinking of? The assassin shouted in annoyance. 4. Kakashi answered without hesitation. Washichi's jaw dropped. For a moment, he might as well have had the words, shock, and defeat, scrawled on his face. I am beaten, Kakashi, Washichi recovered quickly, but you will not capture me. The Cloud Ninja started to turn, and then paused. You won't chase me, right? Of course not, Kakashi reassured him, my job is to protect Yuki. It would be foolish and irresponsible of me to try to catch you, but leave her alone. Wait, Naruto interrupted. The 4-leaf ninja, the director, and most of the cast sat around the bonfire, listening to the Jonin talk. You guessed what number he was thinking, and it scared him off. The guy who stole his genin back from us without Hinata noticing. Pretty much, Kakashi confirmed with a straight face. But everything you said happened would have taken like 3 minutes. Uzumaki continued his protest. To the amusement of everyone, the 3 of us were fighting for like 20 minutes. And, Kakashi baited the young man. Be you, that, Naruto sputtered in indignation. That exact events aren't important, Kakashi soothed him, what matters is that they are gone, and I am reasonably assured they will not be coming back. Then we can relax and go back to working on the film, the director sighed in relief. There were nods all around the celebratory inferno. You are sure this is the end? Brit's portrayer asked. We'll still be here for the rest of the shoot, Kakashi offered, and we'll keep our eyes peeled, just to be safe. After the end of the party, the film crew quickly drifts back to their temporary beds, getting ready for the next day's filming. A few did not go to bed, unable to sleep for whatever reason. One of the cameramen started double-checking all of the equipment. Tamaki began running her lines for the next day. And Noriko walked to the edge of the forest, and took out her cellular phone. There's no need to demand a refund, a quiet voice interrupted her, darling. Washichi is one of the most honorable men I've ever fought with and against. He will make sure you get your money back. The stuntwoman dropped her phone in surprise, and Kakashi Hatake caught it in mid-air, and then handed it back to her. I don't know what you mean, the physical performer sounded genuinely confused. Oh, I think you do, the Jonin grinned under his mask. After all, you were the one who hired the hidden cloud ninjas to eliminate Yuki. Yuki is my friend, there is no way I. Washichi gave me the 2 clues that confirmed it, Kakashi explained, interrupting her protest. First, that he was hired by a woman, and second that their client wanted Yuki to live, if possible, but dead if necessary. You see, none of our other suspects really fit those parameters. Most are male, and all of them would want her either definitely alive, or definitely dead. And if it was someone you didn't expect. But there were already other clues pointing to you. You were what, 2 inches shorter and 20 pounds lighter than Yuki? He asked, but did not wait for the answer, easy enough to conceal with high heels, and Princess Gale's ornate costume. But that means that when the costume came back from the cleaners, shrunken, it was just about your size. Perfect for a bit of psychological prodding, or just to force them to use you until a replacement was ready. In addition, your father was a Land of Lightning shinobi, so it makes sense that you would hire them. He paused, and then watched her intently as he made his final point, but most of all, there was the genjutsu attack last week. Every other person Hinata or I freed stopped immediately, and thought that they were in the middle of shooting a scene. But you took a second to stop, and claimed to have no memory. That's because you were never under the spell. You didn't stop right away, because you didn't recognize for that long that you were supposed to be free. And since you were the first one freed, you took your best guess as to how you should act. But that doesn't make any sense, she shook her head. Why would I risk joining the mob? You people could have hurt me. But if you had been the only stunt person not there, it would have been much more suspicious. Besides, you wanted to be on hand, either to make sure things didn't get too far out of hand, or to make sure the job got done. She stared at him through narrow eyes. Then she shrugged, and snorted dismissively. Even if what you say were true, she said smugly, and for the record, I categorically deny everything. But if it were true, you only have speculation, not proof. For example, my not recovering the same way from the genjutsu could be due to the slight bit of ninja training my father gave me. So there isn't really anything you can do. Oh, you're wrong there. Kakashi's face became shadowed, and his normally flippant voice turned deep and hostile. I'm a Hidden Leaf Village Jonin, and we are in the Land of Fire, he said icily, which means I can execute any person I deem to be a threat to this country's security. Of course, that did not include the royal family, but the copy ninja felt no need to tell Noriko this. You wouldn't, the jealous actress backed away, I'm not a threat to the Land of Fire. You hired foreign ninjas to kill an allied daimyo, while she is in the Land of Fire. You allowed suspicion for that to fall on my daimyo. Your actions interfered with ongoing negotiations between the Land of Fire and the Land of Snow. And had you succeed, you would have cost this country millions of ryo in film revenues. That more than qualifies you as an enemy of the Land of Fire. Noriko had backed herself into a tree, and Kakashi she leaned over her menacingly. Please, don't, the stuntwoman whimpered. Oh, I'm not going to kill you, Kakashi's normal glib tone returned, and he took a step away, straightening, I don't have to. You see, you're going to become as much one of Kayuki's bodyguards, as any member of my squad. Ha, Noriko could only grunt in confusion at the bizarre statement. I've already sent my findings to both the Hokage, and the leader of the village hidden in the snow, he informed her, and while they know it isn't proof, if Kayuki so much as chips a nail in a suspicious manner, they know who to look for. He started to leave, and then turned back and offered conspiratorially, the head of the show ninjas is very loyal to Kayuki. I think he might even have a crush on her. If he had reason to come after you, you might wish that I had finished you here. As he walked back to the camp, the actress collapsed against the tree, shivering with fright, and sobbing quietly. January gave way to February, and near the end of the second month, filming of Princess Gale, the Cardinal Tile Stratagem, finished. There had been no more incidents in last 5 weeks, but the four-leaf shinobi had remained vigilant. But now it was all done, and the only thing left for the majority of the crew was the wrap party. So, Will you be going back to the land of snow? Hinata asked Yuki over the dim of the celebration. For now, yes, the actress said. I have things there that need to be handled. And unless they decide they need reshoots, they won't need me until the release. Though Kakashi had informed his 3 students of the traitor's identity, but they chose to keep that from the rest of the cast, including their client. Now, at the festivities to mark the end of principal filming, Naruto and Hinata were staying close to the princess, while Sakura and Kakashi worked the crowd. So I guess that means we won't be seeing you for a while, Naruto said. Probably not, the daimyo of Snow shook her head, but I have asked the studio to invite you to the premiere. Really? Naruto was shaking with excitement. Hinata was pleased as well, though she did not let it show as much. That's just like Yuki, an unfamiliar voice said behind Naruto. The young man spun quickly, surprised Hinata let a stranger get this close without signaling him. In their 2 months on the set, the Leaf Ninjas had become familiar with the cast, crew, and even the studio executives. But Uzumaki did not recognize this person. He was tall, even taller than Naruto, with a trim build. His clothing was simple, but made of expensive materials. His auburn hair was cropped above the shoulder, and his strong gray eyes regarded the actress with familiarity and fondness. Hold on there, buddy, Naruto stepped between his client and the newcomer. Just who the heck are you? N.A., Naruto, Hinata stammered, this is Nyoko's father. Nyoko's father. Yuki counted to 3 in her head while the statement sunk into the oblivious Chunan's head. Then, Naruto's jaw dropped, and his eyes grew wide as saucers. You mean this guy? He shouted, drawing attention to them, this guy is. Princess Kiyuki stepped past her guardian, and offered a formal, and quiet introduction. Naruto Uzumaki, I would like you to meet my good friend, Hisoka Honokata, she said gracefully, daimyo of the Land of Fire. This guy's the daimyo. Naruto was still amazed, but was able to take the hint and lower his voice, but he can't be. He's not old, or fat, or ugly, or stupid looking. Hinata looked ready to faint at her boyfriend's impropriety. But Hisoka chuckled, and turned to Kiyuki. I think that was a compliment. He told his counterpart, still amused. I wonder how I should take that statement. The actress pretended to be hurt. Their amusement caused both Chunan to relax, though Naruto blushed when he realized what he had said, and to whom. It's a pleasure to finally meet you, Naruto, the leader of the Land of Fire extended his right hand, and the ninja shook it firmly. And Hinata, my daughter's jealous descriptions haven't done you justice, he took her hand gently. The young beauty blushed. Is Nyoko here? Naruto asked, nervously. No. Hisoka smiled again at the ninja's reaction, I'm here for business, not fun. And she has schoolwork. Naruto sighed in relief. She is quite taken with you, the daimyo confided. I was surprised to learn she was willing to take no for an answer. She can be quite willful. He turned away from the teen, back to the princess. I don't have much time, Yuki, he said regretfully, remembering her alias this time. I presume you asked me here because of the mining rights. Yes, she nodded, not meeting his eye. Regretfully, I must inform you that I am awarding the mining rights to the Land of Water. I am sorry, Hisoka. Don't be, he countered openly, their offer was better, and you have to do what is best for your country. The deal does give us a larger cut of the mined ore, she said suggestively, more than we need. Perhaps we can sell the Land of Fire part of our share, in return for your country providing some external oversight of the mines. They continued talk, until the daimyo of fire was forced to leave for other business. And afterwards, the party persisted into the night. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.